Hello, everyone. It's 2 p.m., 5/23, 2026. We have a few things to cover today. I'm your host, Clifford Johnston, and this is the Mojave Podcast transmission. Thousands still evacuated amongst Orange County toxic chemical leak that could lead to explosion. So that's about 6 hours ago from 2 right now. How smoking happens in jail without officers knowing. That's something that I witnessed firsthand in West Valley Detention Center. I thought I was seeing things, but yeah, people can sneak lighters in, and it's a very hush hush thing. And even if I get caught saying something about it, I could, be liable of getting killed. So, but we do need to let people know that stuff like this still does happen in jail, and it's not something that like you should be thinking, oh, I'm gonna be able to go to jail and smoke. It's not actually that prevalent, but it just goes to show you that it does happen. And anyway, this guy's kind of through the eyeballs of somebody who's, I guess, was a cop or something in there. I have no idea. Anyway, Trump just canceled his schedule, locked himself in the White House. Something big is happening, and that's Benny Johnson, and that's regarding the military movement of B-2 bombers probably heading towards Iran. And we have a couple of things. Like this crazy clip right here is a cop lifting up a 50,000 ton bale of hay all by himself with some shoes and basically great technique. It's got over 28 million views, but I can't play the sound on it because it's going to copyright me. So I'm going to, like, that one is going to be, actually, I'm going to move that up first and just turn off the sound to get it off, over with. So here we go. Without further ado, here's the cop that just did that I saw. It's actually because he had a really good technique, man. I gotta represent because I was a weightlifter and I know how hard this is. So, you know. Anyway, let me just finish. Um, Here's the tank stuff. I'm moving it back up here. We're gonna watch KTLA, and then this guy's live watching it. We're gonna see if he has any more information on it. Not spend too much time on his live stream. Newsom declares war on Chevron. I have no idea like what we're up against with this goon sum, but I'm gonna spend time today bashing on some of the things. Like one of his posts he just said was Donald Trump said he'd fight for you or something like that, and all he did is build a ballroom. And it's just like, wow, yeah, but after like the fourth assassination attempt, don't you want further like presidents in the future to have a safer place to gather? Like that's not just for him, dude. Like, and it's actually publicly funded. So, like, he's not even stealing tax dollars like you do. So, that's just kind of like the crazy shit between the goon and somebody who's actually trying to do it for the people. And anyway, so this farmer turns down $26 million data center deal. And yeah, so we're going to be watching that. Here's another one. Osmond Gold, this woman is out of her mind. This shows a cop a note, I want my lawyer, and then it shows a picture of her on the ground arrested after. I have no idea what we're going to watch. It's like 13 minutes. Uh, Russian soldiers furious, forced to use Chinese weapons. Feels like suicide. And I watched a little bit of that. And I could understand why they would think that, because I always thought like, well, maybe not Chinese weapons are good, but like the MP40 was great, bro. Like back when they really knew what they were doing, and it's just like, but MP40 it was like German, really. But like, what I'm trying to tell you is like that era, like where Chinese like actually understood like recoil compression, and the springs needed to be like if you were firing it for an extended period of time, it degrades basically, and so instead of having to fix your gun every like 2 magazines or something, like these weapons, like the older stuff, like you could fire like 5 or 6 magazines without facing any type of degradation from your gun barrel or anything. So it's just you can call that planned obsolescence, or you can just say it is what it is. It's just their engineering isn't doing enough R&D work. They're just doing uh you know an idea, and they'll ship out a whole crate of this stuff, and then we as in the opposite people find these crates and are like trying to even see what they're capable of, and they're in the same batch. There's just multiple weapons that aren't even meeting the specs of that specific gun that it's supposed to be. Like, it's basically a sham. So that's why they're mad. Russians are like, we're being given these weapons that look all great and stuff, and then they're just garbage, basically. So anyway, the biggest conspiracy on the internet right now is right here. Is Iran's. It says Iran's president says dialogue does not mean surrender. So that was 3 hours ago, and yeah. So that's where eventually, when we get through this short, less than an hour splay of information, we'll be ending on that conspiracy-ish topic, which is not conspiracy. It's just that's what is leading the title. But anyway, guys, so here we go. I'm gonna have the sound off so we can get this cop. This cop needs a badge, man. I mean, like, for real, like one of those medals. Babe, you gotta see this. You're supposed to need a tractor to lift that thing, man. It's 50,000 kilograms. I'd want that cop trying to save me if my building was on fire, burning down.
Developing news out of Garden Grove. 40,000 people are still under evacuation orders this morning, waiting to see if a dangerous chemical leak from a storage tank could explode. Rich Perkett is in Sky 5 over the scene this morning. Hey, Rich, good morning.
Annie, good morning. Yeah, these three tanks here have been the center of attention for the past couple of days, and you can see one of those tanks that is starting to peel open. This could be the tank that has actually been compromised. Now, the one thing that's been working for firefighters is the cooling conditions overnight, and then of course you have the sprinkler systems that have been working overtime, and all the unmanned drones that have been keeping an eye with the thermal sensors that give updates as to what the temperature could be within these tanks. So it's still a waiting game here in Garden Grove. It's a GKN Aerospace where they are worried about the chemicals that are inside at least one of those tanks. We'll widen out here and we'll show you the perimeter around this facility. Now there's a large evacuation. Some tens of thousands of people evacuated here in neighboring cities: Garden Grove, Cypress, Stanton, Anaheim. It's a very wide area. You have Ball Road to the north, Valley View to the west, Dale Street to the east, and Trask to the south. The 22 freeway you can see there in the frame remains open. However, some of those on and off ramps will be closed to keep people out of the evacuation area. And of course, we'll keep you updated throughout the day. But for more on this situation, we're going to toss it over to Omar Lewis. Good morning.
Good morning, Rich. Yeah, we're about 3 miles away from where you're located here this morning and received another update from Orange County fire officials. They tell us right now still no timetable for when those families can return back home. They tell us as far as the situation at that aerospace facility, they were able to keep the temperatures stabilized overnight. There is no current leak at this hour. However, as you mentioned, Rich, it's still a waiting game this morning. The question isn't if the tank will fail. It's a question of when that will happen. There are still concerns of a leak or even a possible explosion. Want to take you to the video, tell you how this all began on Thursday here. We know that that's when a storage tank inside the GKN Aerospace facility on Western Avenue began heating up and releasing vapors. Inside that tank, 7,000 gallons of methacrylate, a highly flammable chemical used to make plastics. We know it's highly flammable again and toxic, but the full extent of its effect on people is not known. By Friday morning, crews thought they had things under control, but that's when things actually took a turn for the worse. A second wave of evacuation orders went out, and some residents got a knock at the door before sunrise, telling them to grab what they could and leave. Fire officials say the tank is not currently leaking any chemicals at this point. With temperatures in the tank still dangerously high, though, fire officials laid out a stark reality. The tank will either crack and spill toxic chemicals onto the ground, or it will explode. Crews have already built sand and containment barriers in anticipation of a potential leak. Take a listen.
The valves are broken, they're gummed up with the agent, and we're unable to offload the material through the systems that it has. That was what we were handed, a leaking tank or a tank that blows up.
When will we ever be able to go home? That's toxic waste all over the place.
Paramedics physically wheeled patients out of the Neuro-Restorative Congregate Living Facility, which sits directly downwind from the tank. Some of those patients are on advanced life support. For the broader community, evacuation orders cover the area north of Trask Avenue, south of Ball Road, east of Valley View Street, and west of Dale Street. 3 new evacuation centers have also opened last night. One at Savannah, east of Valley View Street and west of Dale Street, east of Valley View Street and orders cover the area north of Trask Avenue, south of Ball Road, east of Valley View Street, and west of Dale Street. 3 new evacuation centers have also opened last night. One at Savannah High School in Anaheim, and a second at Freedom Hall in Fountain Valley, and another at Ocean View High School. That's in Huntington Beach. Want to go back up live to Sky 5 this morning and tell you again about this facility. Crews continuing to spray water on that tank, trying to keep temperatures down and buy more time while engineers work to find a solution. They also tell us they will be holding a news conference at some point this morning to give us another update. No word on when that will happen. Garden Grove's Strawberry Parade and the 5K have now been postponed, though the festival itself will go on. And for those who have been displaced, again, fire crews say no timetable right now on when you can get back to your home, but the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce has secured reduced hotel rates this morning, and they posted those details on their website. That's ggcity.org. That is the latest for now here live from Los Alamitos. We'll continue to bring you updates throughout the morning. We'll send it back to you, though, in Hollywood for now.
I wonder who are the people that decided to stay. I want to talk to those people. I want to talk to those people. I want to see what they have to say. I don't care. I'm riding this out. It's all a distraction. I don't give a shit. Trying to get a little flip going. Crazy times. Yeah, I haven't seen a hazmat. I mean, I haven't covered one like this. Kind of talked about the potential other tanks explode.
Explosive and however it's highly.
Yeah, I don't think I've covered another hazmat situation like this where it's gone on for days. And I'm assuming the choppers are at a safe distance, I guess. I'm assuming they are. They can zoom in and have nice cameras. I wonder if they feel any kind of shockwave, but cool. Yeah, I guess what? There's no other technology too. I guess maybe that's reasonable. Was there the other side? I want to see one pump. They can't. I don't know. Can't use some kind of technology to freeze it in place or something. Some.
Is forcing tens of thousands of people in Orange County to leave their homes.
CBS LA's Lucelia Caballero has been talking with people at those evacuation centers. Lucelia.
And you know what Michelle Geely is saying is what's causing people not only to be fearful, but also frustrated. It is that uncertainty, the unknown of what will happen next, within the next hour, within the next day. And right now we are here at the Garden Grove Sports and Recreation Center. You can see a few people here just sitting, waiting for dinner. A lot of them, they were honest with us. They said they came with their pets. They came with their essential paperwork, some medication, and those who have pets, their pets, and some pet food, some not even that. So very precarious situation, and those we talked to say they just want to know when they can go home.
It is crazy.
For the second time in less than 24 hours, families in Garden Grove and nearby neighborhoods were forced to pack up and leave.
We know that what we're breathing in right now is toxic. I can smell it.
Several evacuees telling us they're concerned about possible exposure to the chemical fumes and want clearer information from officials.
This reminds me of the burn pits in Iraq. You know, the smell.
No way.
It's just ridiculous that we have to just sit here not knowing.
The Orange County Fire Authority reissued evacuation orders Friday morning after changing conditions at the aerospace facility, where a large chemical storage tank began releasing vapors Thursday afternoon. Residents say the back and forth orders have left many confused, exhausted, and worried about their safety.
I had to leave my house on Cypress.
Some evacuees, like Diane Chavira, grabbed only the essentials before heading out.
I was sleeping in my house until this morning when they told us that we had to leave.
So she grabbed
our guy
her 4
over here
dogs
for a
and
little
left,
bit,
but was
and
disappointed
he's
to
doing better
find
than
the
I am right now
evacuation
because
center
I gotta
at
get my
Stanton
girl.
City Hall and Community Center was closed, adding she's
and stuff. I gotta
unable to
make sure her
bike
tires
all the
filled
way
with
to the
air.
one in
I'll
Garden
get back.
Grove.
I'm just tired. I had a right hip replaced a year ago and it's very hard, you know, because I have no transportation.
Now she and other evacuees we spoke with are trying to figure out where they'll stay and how long they'll be away from home.
The toughest part is not knowing what's happening.
And once again, we are here at Garden Grove Sports and Recreation Center. It's one of 2 evacuation centers that have opened. The other is the Cypress Community Center. The city of Stanton is currently closed. They posted a paper on their door saying that that evacuation center has closed, and that was the one at Stanton City Hall and Community Center. So you can go to one of these two centers that we just mentioned if you are in the affected area. As of now, we are also just waiting to see any update that we receive from the fire authority. I'm going to go ahead and send things back to you.
Thank you, Lucelia. Let's bring
Crazy times we're in.
Refresh for spring.
I'm going to keep looking for some new information. OFCA. State of emergency.
Yesterday after it actually seemed
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder if they're going to send in the team again to check the temperature in person. I'm not sure why they can't just send a robot. I understand the drone can't, but send a robot to maybe read the thing, or I don't know. Can't do that.
Forever.
Whatever.
All right. An interesting one for sure, Laz.
Yeah. To be sure.
Staff living in the RVs. Imagine. Yeah, the staff living in the RVs. All right, get to work. Take a look at another thing. Tell me. The Czech citizen. Okay. Citizen just has old clips. Yeah. The last major update was the state of emergency and also the OFCA, which posted a really interesting video.
However, it's highly.
Is this thing gonna blow? Yeah, I wonder why they pulled back the other pump. That thing is blasting nonstop. Looks like maybe 3 tanks there. What if they run out of water? Imagine if they run out of water. Oh my god. They cut it off. I'm glad I got to come and do an update, man, because I was thinking about this since last night and then today and wanted to kind of update the details of what's happening. Maybe that's it for now. If this shit blows up, I'm jumping on running. Yeah, they got off. Jumping on running. Live updates. Yeah, that sucks for those people. Let me keep checking to see if there's anything else. I think I have notifications too in case anything pops off.
This is Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
That was what we were handed. A leaking tank or a tank that blows up.
Breaking news at 9 a.m. On the verge of disaster. Tens of thousands of people in Orange County are being evacuated as a chemical leak at an aerospace plant continues to cause a hazmat crisis. Good morning. I'm Irene Cruz.
And I'm Tim Caputo. We want to bring you the very latest from the ground and in the skies as this delicate situation continues to unfold to start this holiday weekend. Monica de Anda live at one of the evacuation centers in La Palma, speaking with people whose homes are at risk right now, and meteorologist Carly Gomez following this morning's weather and how that could play a role in this dangerous situation.
But first, let's get to Scott Reif in Aero 7, who's over the aerospace plant in Garden Grove. Scott?
Yeah, Irene and Tim, it's terrifying to think that that tank right there could explode. And from what we've heard from authorities, it would be a huge explosion. It's filled with methylcrylate. It's a GNK Aviation, a 12,000 block of Western Avenue in Garden Grove, north of the 22. But they've cleared about 6 or 7 blocks in every direction, and they've evacuated 40,000 people just in case this would explode. Now, the hope is that that container is going to collapse or crack, and the chemical, that toxic chemical, will down into the ground. There won't be an issue except for environmentally right in this area. But if it explodes, all bets are off. That's why the 40,000 people have been evacuated. Now, one of the real concerns is, as we take a look at this from the air, if this is just going to slowly but surely collapse and that chemical is going to ooze out of that tank, it could take hours, days, weeks. We don't see much change in that tank in the entire time that we've taken a look at it. So hopefully that will be the case. It doesn't matter how long it takes for the most part, as long as it does not explode. They're putting as much water on it as possible. Those are automatic water cannons that were set up. The fire department and everyone else has completely left the scene. Tim, Irene?
All right, a scary situation, especially when you see it from above. Thank you, Scott. More than 40,000 people in the area surrounding that incident remains under evacuation orders this morning. New shelters even opened up today after some reached capacity overnight.
Eyewitness News reporter Monica de Anda continues our live team coverage from an evacuation center in La Palma. Monica.
Irene, Tim, good morning. We are just outside of...
Yeah, I'm going to do one more scan and we'll see. If anything, we take a break and come back later for any updates. Let's see. Let's show all the Cali places one more time. All the Cali feeds. Nope.
We worked so hard on it.
Crazy times, man. I don't know what to think anymore. I think everybody got off. ABC's talking about it
in Garden Grove. 40,000 people live within this evac zone that covers the area north of Trask Avenue, south of Ball Road, east of Valley View Street, and west of Dale Street. Small portions of West Anaheim and Cypress are also included in the evacuation zone. Garden Grove Police says they have done reverse 911 calls and gone door to door, urging people to leave. They say right now there's about a 15% refusal rate. Video from Air 7 shows a line of dozens of people waiting to get into a shelter late last night. People have been coming to these evac shelters since they first opened up yesterday. Some of these centers are at capacity, but the Public Information Hotline told us just this morning that it's hard to track which ones are full and which ones still have space because of the fluid situation. Now, we do know a new shelter just opened up today in Huntington Beach, but the shelters aren't just for people. Their four-legged friends are also welcomed. This morning, we've been speaking to people just waking up at these shelters about their experience so far and why having their pet with them has made all the difference. Take a listen.
There's a lot of folks that are elderly and
Yeah, I can't
have a disability
show you guys that.
you know, their dogs are their family or their cats are their family, and so to have them be able to be close to them, you know, in this time when they can't be at home and they're in a
California
high school gym. It's an amazing thing how relaxed and calm they are and happy that, you know, it's not an ideal situation, but if they can have their pets with them, it means the world to them.
And here at Kennedy High School, I'm told there's about a dozen dogs and a handful of cats here, and we've seen some of them out here with their owners. They're just happy to be together. As far as
Okay, yeah, I think we did good for now. I'm gonna take a little time and chill and relax and kind of enjoy some of the day, but I will be around. I will be here. I'll be chilling. If there's anything that pops off crazy or updates with this, I will jump back on. Let me just double check. I should have notifications.
This is Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
Live.
Good afternoon. I'm Liz Nagy alongside Jory Rand. We're bringing you live breaking coverage of the latest on this chemical leak tank in Garden Grove this afternoon.
Yeah, a lot of people have been paying attention to what's going to happen here. Firefighters
I do. I have two notifications.
GKN Aerospace Facility in Garden Grove is still on path to imminent failure. There are two likely outcomes here, as we've been hearing for more than 24 hours from local firefighters. That tank is likely going to spill thousands of gallons of highly toxic chemicals, or it could explode. And I just spoke with a professor who we'll hear from shortly, saying that that is the worst of two options. You do not want this to ignite and spread those toxic smoke fumes mixed with that gas. The best case scenario between the two is the spill, which in itself has quite a few problems.
And for anyone who's outside right now knows it is getting hot outside. That is only making conditions all the more volatile. You are looking at pictures right now live from Air 7 streaming over the situation in Garden Grove. The fire authority says a crew went into the site overnight despite those life-threatening conditions. That crew was able to see an internal temperature gauge. The incident commander says the temperature has now been rising about 1 degree per hour since Thursday morning. Authorities are preparing for the tank to fail, as well as trying to speak with experts from across the country, in some cases from around the world, to find any alternative solutions. Governor Gavin Newsom just this afternoon has now declared a state of emergency in Orange County. That makes additional state resources and shelter sites available for people who are in such desperate need of a place to stay right now because they had to leave their homes with a moment's notice yesterday.
And what do? You're living with this situation. You don't know when you can get home. You don't know how bad this is going to be. We don't know how far this potential toxic plume could travel. So many people at risk right now. This morning, the Orange County Fire Authority did address this situation here. Just when first responders thought things were getting better, the temperature we saw last night, we reported at 11 o'clock, was lowering down to 60 degrees. It has since risen back up again.
50 degrees, they say, is the sweet spot. That is where they want, the happy place they kept referring to, of where they want this tank to be. It is now creeping up, well above 70 degrees.
Up to 90 degrees today. So it is rising. It is getting hotter. And as we learned today, the hotter it gets, the faster that temperature increases. Take a listen to what they had to say today.
We made a call last night to go back offensive. We've been defensive this whole time out of life risk and our hazard of the explosion. Going back offensive, we did put people in harm's way last night with support of the chemist team, that emergency response team, and our members. We did put them back in harm's way last night with an attempt to go in and neutralize the additional tank, the 15,000 gallon tank. We want to neutralize that product to remove its explosive potential should the 7,000 gallon tank blow up. So when the members went in there, they were able to go see the gauge that's being covered by water. You can't see it from a distance. You can't see it from a drone. They were able to go in there and see the gauge and actually see what the internal temperature is of this tank that's having issues. Unfortunately, I do have to report that the temperature was 90 degrees. Yesterday morning, it was 77 degrees when we backed out. It's been averaging about a degree an hour increasing. So that's the bad news. Unfortunately, I have to share with you. There's some thoughts here. So we still have the two plans, right, that we were handed this incident off to us. Does it rupture and spill, or does it blow up? Right now, one of the concepts we're thinking about is because of the heavy deluge of water and cooling it, we're allowing it to cure at a slower rate and reducing its overpressure building. It's one of the thoughts. So like an ice cube that freezes from the outside in, this stuff cures, it heats up and cures from the outside in. While it's doing that process, it's building that pressure. There's a void space above the top layer of the water or the liquid to the top space. We're hoping that that space can absorb a slower cure rate and not overpressure and blow up. So that's the third option. We're optimistic and we're trying to look into validate, get some technology in there that can validate our thoughts, do some additional research.
What a
in
mess.
addition to that, we're bringing people in from all over the country, talking to people all over the place, trying to come up with additional options. Letting this thing just fail and blow up is unacceptable to us. Our goal is to find something and not allow that happen, not let it damage our community, not let it damage our environment.
So back out live now at what they're trying to do here. I was going to call it a firefight. It is a water fight at this point,
Right.
trying to cool these tanks down. You can see the shot we have today is farther away than what we had yesterday and even earlier today because Air 7 has to stay that much farther away. As the temperature rises, the risk rises as well. You can also hear so many of the options that they are going through. I know people are calling our newsroom, people are calling the fire authority in Orange County. They do not need your help. It is appreciated. We know everyone out there wants to help and do anything they can. They are talking to the best experts in the world, and having to field your calls with suggestions only kind of complicates matters.
Right, and they are really working with this in real time, working against the clock. At some point, you hope here in the next few hours as the sun begins to set, the external temperature will go down, which may make things easier. We often talk about these things in terms of wildfires, so the outside weather really does play a part here. We've been speaking a lot about the technical aspect of what is happening at that plant. There is also a humanitarian aspect to all of this. At least 40,000 people are now under evacuation orders. At this point, there are at least 4 official shelters that are open. Many of them are at capacity. We have reporters at some of those locations. People are being turned away because there is no longer anywhere to stay. People are being taken good care of, but these are people who had to leave their home at a moment's notice, not knowing when they will be able to return.
Right. You can see the current affected area here from Ball Road to the north down to Trask Avenue, south of the 22 freeway over to the 405 Garden Grove Boulevard to the west. Valley View, I mean, we're talking Anaheim, Garden Grove.
La Palma.
So many areas that are being affected. You see to the left there, there's an airport here, there are homes, there's obviously Disneyland and all of those areas that are not necessarily in the affected areas, but still nearby, and you don't know which way the wind will blow should this happen. So there are 2 outcomes, again, that we're waiting to see if this happens. If they are not able to get a hold of this situation, it could explode or the chemicals could spill. Let's hear more about the plans that authorities have in the event that one of those 2 things happens.
Concurrently, we're working on how do we respond to this thing should it fail. So we have very aggressive plans being developed for contingency for fire emergency, for medical emergencies, which should be limited because thankfully you have followed our direction and removed the life safety hazard of this by evacuating. The only life safety hazard now is our firefighters and our police officers and that chemistry team going down range. That eliminates a big part of this problem. And the last thing we're doing is we're preparing for the tank to fail and spill the liquid all over the place. We're going to try to establish some diking and damming and divert it to a spot that could be a holding area.
Yeah, we've heard this part too. They're repeating a lot of the same information. But all right, guys, thank you so much. I hope you stay safe. Have a happy Saturday. If something crazy pops off, I will jump back on. I should have 2 notifications, so make sure you subscribe and have all notifications turned on, and follow me YouTube, Akid Mel Clips, my second YouTube page, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. All right, thank you guys. Be safe.
Environmental disaster on your hands. Neither of them, as they have been saying now for 24 hours, are good options. The better of those 2, if one were to happen, is the leak. You heard they're trying to figure out a way to contain that the best way they can.
Yeah, through dikes and reservoirs, keeping it in place and having to manage it there, put some chemicals in there to stop the reactions that are happening within this very volatile chemical.
And it's just incredible to look at that picture from Air 7, just good old-fashioned water being used to try and keep this situation under control as they try and come up with better means to contain all of this as this situation changes and to keep this from exploding. And while there is so much technicality involved in all of this, you listen to, there's some very basic methods that they're really considering here. How do you contain it, put it into a reservoir, keep it from leaking into the ocean and causing a regional problem?
Right, and as we know, the little science we don't need to learn, when water evaporates off our skin, it makes us cold. It's the general principle here. As this water is put on it, it's cold water. As it evaporates, it hopefully will cool, but it is not doing enough. This is heating up a degree per hour. That was several hours ago, so we can assume by that math it is several degrees above 90 degrees right now.
And as the expert you spoke to said, the quicker it gets hotter, the faster it condenses.
Right. Got a quick science lesson, which we'll get to. It's very interesting stuff. But we do want to let you know that this morning, Governor Newsom issued a state of emergency over this chemical situation. The governor says the order offers state agencies and resources now to Orange County to help address this issue. He says the safety of Orange County the Orange County residents is their top priority right now.
Well, we are mobilizing. This is what Governor Gavin Newsom had to say this morning. Quote, we are mobilizing every state resource available to support local responders and make sure the community has what they need to stay safe. This has been an incredible drain on local resources as they work to keep people safe and away from their homes and fix this situation as quickly as possible.
40,000 residents of Southern California now under an evacuation order right now. This again, we take a look at this. And we don't know which way the winds will be blowing when and if this fails, but tens of thousands of people evacuated. The evacuation zone covers the west side of Garden Grove, small portions of West Anaheim and Cypress. Right now, that flow of evacuees is spread across 6 shelters available right now. They are in Cypress, Fountain Valley, at Savannah High School in Anaheim, Ocean View High School in Huntington Beach. And as you can understand, people are growing impatient, wondering when they will be allowed to go back home. What's going to happen? This is, again, a dangerous situation, and they don't know what is to come for them and their family.
Right, and yesterday we were hearing from local responders that they were having about a 15% refusal rate of people refusing to leave their homes, thinking perhaps this wasn't as dangerous. We hope at this point that that has decreased, that people really do understand the danger of this situation. Many have taken shelter with family and friends in the area and farther away. I'm not sure if it's good news or bad news that this is a holiday weekend. We should point out, so there may be people that are out of town, but it's also where Disneyland is. There may be a lot of people who are in town because it is a holiday
and
weekend.
Hotels might be hard to come by in this area with people already in town. I believe we spoke with some of those evacuees and want to hear what they have to say right now.
Like the leak especially, we don't know how long that's going to take or how long it's going to take for them to resolve it. And therefore, who knows if it's going to take this weekend or till next week. I hope it doesn't.
I talk with many people, especially for the senior people. They're very frustrated overnight. They cannot sleep well, and another thing, they don't know when they can go home. And over here, we don't have they don't have a shower yet. That's why some, especially for the women, they feel uncomfortable.
Police officers came into our area telling everyone to leave, and so yeah, we all went, and it was kind of stressful because like, where are we gonna go? And so we had to go out, and we went to Beach Boulevard, and then we couldn't really find a place to stay home, and so then we came here. And
there's a lot going on, and they're trying to do their best and everything, you know. But it was like they had to try to pull a lot together last night. Yeah, and it was close. It was tight, but you know, it's kind of hard to sleep because I mean, you got animals barking, you got kids crying, you got people snoring. So I didn't get any sleep last night.
I feel really bad because then now they have to be forced to go into a shelter like this, and I don't know how it's in there, but it seems pretty cramped, and they're sleeping on these cots. It must be really hard for them.
We never really know like how long this will take. We hope it's soon, you know, so we're not out here for who knows how long. And whatever stuff that can happen, we hope for the best.
They can't take any action for it. It's like they're basically saying either it's going to blow up or it's going to leak or it's going to be like this for weeks or months. Who knows? It's like it's like sort of just hanging in the air. Like, when can I go home? You know, because if the tank blows, that's bad because it's going to do a lot of damage to people's property. If it leaks, that's the best scenario. But what if it doesn't leak either? I mean, they're pouring water in that thing, so it's not going to combust probably. So I'm just like, I'm kind of tired.
And therein lies the frustration of 40,000 people in Orange County who, for right now, are out of their homes for the foreseeable future. This evacuation area also includes the city of Stanton. People there have been asked to leave their homes with no idea when they might be able to return. The Red Cross is managing these centers where people are staying, but they are getting to capacity. And people here in Southern California are used to evacuating at a moment's notice, or at least the possibility of evacuating at a moment's notice for a wildfire. This is an entirely different uncertainty that people really can't comprehend because there's a lot of technical science involved. And at this point, it seems as though the experts, if they're being blunt with us, have no good options.
Yeah, and in an area like Garden Grove, you would never have to expect to evacuate for a wildfire. You're not near much wildland. There aren't many hills around, and in a situation where you see your neighbors sometimes in neighboring counties and cities have to do this, this is likely a new thing for most of these people who are having to quickly leave their homes.
Oh, they're alive now.
We're talking about this incident happening now at this aerospace company. We look around in the surrounding areas. Disneyland is off to the east, to the northeast. You have Los Alamitos Army. That was that Army base. That was the airport that we showed in that evacuation map. It is very close there. There are a lot of people. We talked about 40,000 people evacuated. That doesn't limit the number of people who might be affected by this should something catastrophic happen. We've been mentioning this a little bit. We got a kind of a crash course, science course from a professor this morning on what can happen. You see those 3 tanks there. They all contain the same chemical that we are talking about, that MMA, the
methylcrylate.
Methylcrylate, a very volatile compound that basically reacts with itself. If you just let it, it would heat up and you'd see some problems. They put inhibitors into these 3 tanks, but the problem is when this chemical reaction happens, it can form like a gel, a thick gel-like substance, and that appears to have clogged the safety valves on one of these 3 tanks. It doesn't allow anything to come in or out at this point, so they can't inject any kind of inhibitor or chemical reaction to stop this from heating up and combusting. They were able to do that in the other 2 tanks, and that's obviously a good thing, where as this continues to heat up, it would heat up those other 2 tanks, but that has not happened here, and this continues to rise. So again, here is a little bit of what this professor told us in this kind of crash course on scientifically what is happening there today.
Projections are that this tank will either fail and 7,000 pounds of material will drop into the ground, and this lake will be out there. It'll be heating itself. This chemical is reacting molecule by molecule, and they stick together by themselves. They don't need any more help. And every molecule it sticks releases heat. And so what's happening inside the tank is you've got this constant reaction going on, and it's getting hotter and hotter, even though they're dousing the tank itself with water to cool it off. And in the videos shown, you can see the steam pouring off of this along with the water splashing, but it's quite hot. It was this morning inside the tank somewhere around 90 degrees. What's important to consider is that it's continuing to get hotter. It was 70 or 80 degrees last night. Now it's 90. And the hotter it gets, the faster the heat rises. And so
that's so interesting.
The reactions will accelerate to some extent. And that's where the risk comes in. Eventually, this will reach a point where it will generate so much heat that you'll actually get an explosion.
A couple more points I took away from that. Like a lot of people who are trying to come up with solutions, Why can't you just cool it down with something other than water? Bring in liquid nitrogen and do something, you know, really put a deep freeze on it. And his concern is it would make the tank so brittle.
It would
if you
fracture the
instantly
tank
hit it with
instantly. What
something
the
that
fuck are you
cold,
talking about?
it's going to
I'm
rupture
so glad
that
we don't.
way. And
I'm so glad we don't have people like that actually having like control of the ideas, because they're so stupid.
over the tanks, fill that with nitrogen, then allow it to explode due to pressure. And if there's no oxygen inside that tank, there's nothing to combust. So it would vent the pressure, the chemical would spill, but you wouldn't have that incendiary action. And so.
Oh wait, we're not trying to cause it to explode, Ari.
These are the ideas that some of the brightest minds in the field are discussing at this point at very high levels, while there are crews on the ground sort of doing their best to stabilize the situation while people come up.
Side note, whose trailers are those? Whose $30,000 RVs are those? I mean, they're not RVs, they're trailers, but still, they're really expensive. I mean, honestly, I don't know if you've been trying to buy one lately, but I mean, when you're even looking into renting, they're like ridiculous. Why would you rent? But I mean, like rent to own one, man, not like just rent.
Obviously, we
Your
know that
DNA.
this is a highly volatile.
Okay, so here's the thing is, like, that's what I was trying to say is, that's why you can't go in there and move the RVs, even though you wish you could. Because it's trying to say that, like, you're not going to get cancer. It doesn't say it's direct cancer to humans,
like a lot
but
of
it will
people are
cause
trying
organ
to come up with
damage,
solutions.
which is like
why can't you just cool it
all
down
of
with
your
something other than
organs.
water? Bring in liquid nitrogen and do something, you know, really put a deep freeze on it. And his concern is it would make the tank so brittle if you instantly hit it with something that cold, it's going to rupture that way, and you're dealing with the same problem. He said, in a anything goes situation, you would put some kind of tent over the tanks, fill that with nitrogen, then allow it to explode due to pressure. And if there's no oxygen inside that tank, there's nothing to combust. So it would vent the pressure, the chemical would spill, but you wouldn't have that incendiary action. And so that's not exactly realistic at this point.
These are the ideas that some of the brightest minds in the field are discussing at this point at very high levels, while there are crews on the ground sort of doing their best to stabilize the situation while people come up with some sort of long-term solution and trying to abate any health risks. So we keep talking to you about this 40,000 people that are being kept far away from this. There is a reason why they are keeping people away from this area. The chemical in the tanks is called methyl-methylcrylate. It is highly flammable, highly explosive, and it is used for shatter-resistant acrylic glass, paints, and adhesives. It can also be very harmful to your health. Major health organizations, including the Environmental Protection Agency, say the chemical is not likely to cause cancer in humans, but doctors say abrupt contact can potentially damage more than your lungs and skin.
So
it can also affect your organs.
Like,
obviously, we know that this is a highly volatile chemical. There is a reason they are keeping people this far away. They want to minimize any health risks.
Yeah, and the professor said, should this be carried on the
some
wind,
of it.
the farther it goes, the more
months,
people that
man,
would be affected, but
we
the
need
farther
to
it
start
goes, the
thinking
more it
about
also
corralling some of
dissipates.
that.
So do you want a lot of wind to spread it far and affect more people and have less of it affecting each person the farther it goes, or do you want it more concentrated and trying to
something like
keep it more contained?
And in several of these different scenarios, including one of them where this would leak, you're talking about a regional impact, which is why Governor Gavin Newsom is also involved in all of this. So they're doing their best to contain the damage and keep it as minimal as possible while trying to come up with some real solutions.
Yeah, and we know about burn-offs when we see in kind of gasoline production. We sometimes see them flare some of their ports. That seems like it's something natural gas. They sometimes flare them. whether that would be an option here, whether you would prefer the explosion to the spill. And the professor said no, the explosion would be far worse, far more catastrophic.
Yeah, what the
if
fuck
you're
are you
rooting for
talking
one of these
about?
two outcomes, you're rooting for the spill rather than the explosion, because that toxic smoke
I'm sorry, man.
would cause a lot of problems
Whoever
very
said
far, as far as
isn't the explosion more better than the spill must have been thinking about the polypop or whatever thing in Ohio, all that plastic, all that crap. That's way different than this.
you start dealing with more health problems as well. You put those vapors and fumes
Think of
into
this
the
like
air, and that can be
napalm
toxic
hitting
and problematic as
everything,
well.
Right,
and then
the
it just
frustrating
gets hotter.
process
And then
in
so
all of
if
this
you want
is
to
how
start
long does
a
this go on?
fire,
How
you
long
just
do you
put
have
a
to weigh
bomb
options
of this
before
shit.
a decision is made
This
for
is
you by
insane.
conditions?
Like, look at it. It
ABC's
just
Jacqueline
keeps
Lee is going
going,
to
and
continue our
I've
coverage from
never
the
seen
ground in
anything
Orange
like
County,
it.
where she's outside a command post in Cyprus.
First responders are working around the clock to prevent a massive chemical
I hate to say
explosion
it,
in
but it
Garden
seems
Grove,
to me like this
California,
is a little
which is
bit
about
foul play
35
at
miles
play.
outside Los
I guess
Angeles.
that's it. I wanted to hear that though because it was pretty interesting information from this guy. I guess they're still alive out there though. I don't want to. It's hard to catch them live sometimes.
Explosion after noxious vapors spewed into the air due to a leak at an aerospace manufacturing company. Authorities reporting earlier today that the temperature inside one of the tanks has been increasing each hour. Hazmat crews sent in to try to neutralize the chemical to prevent it from exploding. Now, the incident commander said they are working on trying to cool the tank from the outside in. They said they do not want to accept the fact that this will just explode. They want to keep the community as safe as possible, and they are working with experts around the country to come up with ideas. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Cypress, California.
Now, you are looking live at pictures from Air 7 as they do their best to try and cool this tank.
So now what I go for is, it depends on if it's a pressure cooker system, but we need to think about actually being able to stick a solid rod of impermeable like titanium or something like that doesn't get corrosive or something, that you can liquidly chill it, like one of those long, or maybe a few of them, with the reactor cores, make a reactor core out of it really quick until it stabilizes, so you can do something with it. But like, I don't know, man. You have to figure out a way to have it on standby. You can't be having water squirting on some shit when you're supposed to be like, drilling into this. And that's like the one thing that's keeping it stable. So like, I don't know, man. Like it would have to be a very, very selective procedure or some sort. Definitely would have to be robotic at best, but then it could all just falter into an explosion anyway. So this is why when you build stuff like this, I mean, when you're really thinking that like those bars with the water needed to be like reinforced concrete walls and barriers, so people, like, you can cool the room, right? Like, you know what I mean? You can like have an attempt to have HVAC vents on the top of the building to suck some of this crap out, so it's not in the open population right away, to give people more time. But right now, all that's bullshit. All of it's gone. I don't know why. It literally is useless right now. So I mean, like, to me, it's like, we need to figure out a way to cap it, and then let's let the explosion go off, and then if we can put a dome over it or something like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's to let it burn out, because like fire needs oxygen to burn. So like, that's the only thing I'm thinking of. Like eventually it will make the thing that's covering it too hot. You get what I mean? So like, this is the point to where we need like a tunnel underneath of it, and like it just opens up and all this crap goes into it, and then it's sealed. That's like a really good way to look at something like this. But there's different ways of engineering to get around this, but right now when this is going on, it's very hard to do it because nobody's supposed to be there. So that's what I mean. Like, we should have been ahead of this. And this is real. I can attest to this stuff actually happening. I seen it firsthand, but I never partook in it because, I never really trusted what they were smoking anyway, but like, I did see it. And it wasn't that prevalent. Like, the lighter had to be passed around, and the lighter was supposedly one of the death row inmates or something like that. Like, so like, I don't know. It was just like, probably like really you had to have money basically. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of you bought off the guards in a sense, or you knew which guards were which, and then you did what you knew what protocol was. I don't know why I got this hum right now.
They gonna come in here and try to wait blunt with them.
Poncho, smoke, and you smell nothing but marijuana inside the dorm. It's like, how has this even happened? And not one time did an officer come in that dorm. As a police officer, I try to give as much credit to correctional officers as I can, you know, but when you see stuff like that firsthand, it's kind of heartbreaking. It baffles me what can get in here without the officer knowledge.
Bro, you can't be having the door open this morning, bro.
What's the matter?
They gonna come in here and try to wake me up and try to get me to smoke this blunt with them.
Poncho was approached by the guys who smoke weed, and they asked him to join, but he wasn't part of it. I was like, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to be able to investigate how they get weed in here.
How they getting a blunt? Trustee. Sleep.
How do they light it?
They get a lighter.
A lighter, really? How do you get a damn lighter in this place to light weed?
Yeah, so they just sneak that stuff in. And they have lighters in here? You know, dude with the dreads? Yeah. Oh, he's the one that brings all stuff in? That's crazy.
I cannot wait to meet with the colonel because there's a lot of stuff I would like to get off my chest and give information to him about what's going on in his facilities.
Code red. This is not a drill. Dan Scavino is B2 bomber posting on social media, and you know what happens next. If you don't know Dan Scavino, you should. He's a man who's been by President Trump's side for nearly 40 years, probably the single most trusted advisor to the president, the voice of Donald Trump when it comes to digital media, and a man who runs all presidential personnel. And so he's a man who knows what's about to happen. And when Dan Scavino starts posting videos like this, it means it's about to pop off. He did this before we black-bagged Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. He did this before the Iran war popped off. And everybody has the spider sense that something's about to happen, and something strange is happening right now. President Trump has canceled all plans this weekend, told top administration, military, and intel officials to cancel all of their Memorial Day plans. And Donald Trump is back at the White House and hasn't been seen. All reporters were sent out of the White House, ladies and gentlemen, late last night. Something's about to happen. This is one sign. This is another sign. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Dan Scavino posting at 1 a.m. in the morning a video of him and President Trump walking into the White House, but it is the music that everybody is queuing in on. The Nessun Dorma, the sum of all fears. Scavino dropping hints tonight what's about to happen. My guess is they're going after the uranium. Here's the video. You can see President Trump here walking into the White House. See sort of his silhouette. a sign that everyone in the White House has been working overtime and that, well, it's about to go down. Dan Scavino has been posting nonstop about the B-2 bombers. This one, just a 2-second video of a B-2 bomber. I guess we'll see. Of course, Queen and Pavarotti. Look at this. It's about to pop off, man. Is it going to pop off because of the threat against Ivanka Trump, the president's daughter? We just learned this a couple hours ago. This story broke, a world news exclusive, the number one story on earth, that Ivanka Trump was targeted for assassination by Iranian terrorists in twisted revenge plot. The dude's a legit terrorist. He had plans for her home, plans to kidnap President Trump's grandchildren, go after his beloved firstborn daughter. I'm not sure, but all the pieces are starting to come together, and President Trump has done something very strange. Donald Trump has canceled all of his plans. Donald Trump does not normally do this. President Trump often, virtually every weekend, golfs on the weekend, gets his business done at one of his golf courses. Donald Trump canceled a planned trip and all of his Memorial Day plans as well. He was going to go to Bedminster, New Jersey, in order to golf, but instead, Donald Trump stepped off Marine One right back to Washington, D.C. This was not part of the plan, which is causing a ton of speculation. And you can see here Donald Trump marching into the White House and the doors shut quickly behind him. Donald Trump canceled all plans and is now back in D.C. CBS is reporting Intel officials have also canceled all of their Memorial Day plans and are on standby. Something seems imminent. Here's President Trump arriving back in a rainy Washington, D.C. this weekend. U.S. military intelligence officials canceling all of their Memorial Day plans. We'll see. There's great speculation as to whether this could mean it's going down in Iran, Cuba, or both. My sources tell me that Pakistan's Field Marshal Asim Munir is on his way to Iran to deliver a final ultimatum from President Trump. Give up your enriched uranium immediately, or you will be turned into a glass factory. Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump is convening his senior security team meeting this morning, talking about the Iran war situation. He's seriously considering launching new strikes against Iran, barring a last-minute breakthrough in negotiations. Trump is considering launching new strikes in Iran. Trump's messaging all week has been hitting as well. Trump is telegraphing that he's about to strike, which is normally not his MO. Misdirection may be afoot. We'll see. Is there misdirection happening right now? Could it be that they're focusing on Iran when it's really Cuba is their aim? I believe the liberation of the most wonderful people of Cuba from the clutches of communism is close at hand. Cuba Libre, says Lindsey Graham yesterday evening. Well, if anybody would know, it'd of course be warmonger and neocon Lindsey Graham. Cuba might be in American territory by Tuesday. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Is Donald Trump going to pop off knowing that it is a federal holiday on Monday? Iran has shut down their airspace. Trump's canceled all plans and is back at the White House, and they just uncovered a plot to kill his daughter. They effed around TikTok. See here, the Iranian airspace has been totally cleared, except for one flight from Pakistan. One flight from Pakistan went in with the Pakistani negotiation team. So hopefully a good sign there. Obviously, I want peace in the region. Heavy interference, red zones, massive GPS jamming detection across Iran, Iraq, Kuwait. So you can see the GPS jamming happening right here. Well, glad I stocked up on popcorn. Action coming soon. I fear that Trump is skipping his son's birthday to spend the weekend in D.C., something he normally isn't keen to do. His son's birthday. Okay, yeah, I mean, maybe he's also skipping Don Jr.'s wedding as well. A sign we should brace for something crazy this weekend. Even libs are able to see it happening. Cuba, 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 Cuba. It's all popping off. I guess we'll see. Pakistan Air Force jet departs Karachi, reportedly heading for Iran. So maybe they'll get the peace deal done, and maybe we'll take over Cuba. Trump may be gearing up for a renewed round of attacks on Iran, or he may overthrow the government of Cuba, or he may just drink a Diet Coke or enjoy the long weekend. Everybody zooming in on this Dan Scavino clip. None Shall Sleep. He shares a clip with the Nessun Dorma. The song plays at the end of Sum of All Fears when Jack Ryan allies assassinate a global conspirator. Sum of All Fears is mentioned in multiple Q drops on Iran. I just heard something crazy is happening inside of the White House. They have no idea what's coming. Iran war this weekend, 100%. People are saying Tulsi Gabbard resigning yesterday is a signal and a sign. Iran rejects deal to hand over highly enriched uranium, canceling plans in New Jersey. Last time Dan shared this video was an hour before Epic Fury. Tonight is the FAFO time. As we've shown you. There it is. I mean, the entire administration is really plainly telegraphing that they're about to strike. This is not, if it's not misdirection, then Trump clearly wants everybody to tune in to what happens next. Yeah, that's the sense that we get as well. The only reason I would ever skip my kid's wedding, Don Jr. is getting married this weekend in the Bahamas, is if something absolutely massive was about to go down. So massive that missing a wedding would seem small by comparison. Are we going to war? It's President Trump saying that he's going to skip Don Jr.'s wedding. U.S. Southern Command is prepared to begin offensive operations against Cuba, the godless communist regime. Raul Castro might be captured this weekend. Make Cuba great again. And of course, the Domino's pizza tracker is experiencing 227% spike right next to the Pentagon. Always a beacon and a signal, a blaring signal that something is about to pop off militarily. Pretty sure when you try and assassinate the president's daughter, all negotiations are probably off. War is coming. See. We'll see. Trump doesn't go to his son's wedding. He goes to the White House instead of a normal trip to New Jersey. Tulsi Gabbard steps down, China trip over. Reports Trump is considering bombing again, and Massey loses. All signs point to an imminent attack. We'll see. Middle East tensions appear to be escalating again. Iranian airspace restricted. Iran's military posture has reportedly moved to maximum alert. Fighter activity has been observed across the region. GPS disruption is happening now. I don't know, man. Iran airspace shut down. War is imminent. All right. And one plane has flown over Iran. And we'll see. One plane from Pakistan. The final message, the final warning, I don't know. But I have a sinking suspicion, and we've been right on these things because we pay very close attention, that we are either going to take over Cuba or Iran this weekend. One or the other. So stay locked in, Patriots. It's going to be